On January 30th, the US Department of Justice released over 3 million pages of documents related to the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse network and his associates. The newly released files mention several high-profile global figures. The disclosures triggered political controversy in India after some records appeared to reference individuals allegedly close to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In messages exchanged with the disgraced American financier. Why has this triggered political controversy in India? According to the documents, Epstein linked a Modi-Trump meeting held on June 25th to 26th, 2017 to Prime Minister Modi's subsequent visit to Israel from July 4th to 6th that year. Epstein claimed that the Israel visit had worked because Mr. Modi had followed advice from the then US President. Responding to the claims, the Ministry of External Affairs (MEA) spokesperson said in a statement issued on Saturday, beyond the fact of the Prime Minister's official visit to Israel in July 2017, the rest of the allusions in the email are little more than trashy ruminations by a convicted criminal, which deserve to be dismissed with the utmost contempt. The timing of the disclosures has drawn attention as the Prime Minister is expected to make his second visit to Israel later this month. BJP spokespersons dismissed Epstein's assertions as bogus and drunk bragging on email. The newly released material includes claims made by Epstein suggesting efforts to facilitate meetings linked to Prime Minister Modi's official visit to the United States in 2017. These claims have been firmly denied by both the Indian government and the ruling BJP. According to messages dated March 2017, Epstein claimed that leadership in New Delhi wanted him to help connect Indian businessman Anil Ambani with Jared Kushner, then US President Donald Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor, as well as Republican political strategist Steve Bannon. Epstein suggested that these meetings were intended to prepare the groundwork for Prime Minister Modi's official visit to Washington in June 2017. The messages, part of 3 million pages from hundreds of thousands of heavily redacted documents released by the US DOJ, indicate a close relationship and regular contact between Mr. Ambani and Epstein between 2017 and 2019, until a few months before Epstein's death in a New York prison. Mr. Ambani's office did not respond to a detailed set of questions from The Hindu about the mails attributed to him, and The Hindu cannot independently verify whether the messages were indeed sent by Mr. Ambani. In another message from May 2019, Epstein told former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon that he had met what he described as Modi's guy, adding that the individual complained that no one in Washington speaks to him. Indian authorities have dismissed Epstein's assertions related to India, and the BJP has rejected any connection between the messages and the government, calling the claims baseless. Meanwhile, opposition parties have seized upon the disclosures, staging protests outside Parliament and demanding answers from the government. The Epstein Files reference a wide range of prominent global figures. However, none of those named have been accused of wrongdoing on the basis of these documents. Names mentioned in the records include US President Donald Trump, former US President Bill Clinton, Britain's Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Israel's former Prime Minister Ehud Barak, Microsoft co-founder and philanthropist Bill Gates, Alphabet co-founder Sergey Brin, business magnate Elon Musk, Virgin Group founder Richard Branson, L Brands founder Les Wexner, singer Michael Jackson, American film producer Stephen Tisch, prominent American criminal defense attorney Alan Dershowitz, former president of the United Nations General Assembly Miroslav Lajčák, and former UK ambassador Peter Mandelson. Indian names referenced include Prime Minister Narendra Modi, filmmaker Meera Nair, BJP leader Hardeep Puri, and businessman Anil Ambani. US authorities have cautioned that being named in the files does not imply criminal conduct. and that the material should not be treated as conclusive evidence. Jeffrey Epstein was a US-based financier who later became a multi-millionaire and developed connections with wealthy individuals, influential politicians, and royalty. He was convicted of sex offenses and faced allegations of trafficking women and minors for sexual exploitation. In 2008, Epstein entered into a controversial plea deal that allowed him to serve just 13 months in jail, a decision that later drew widespread criticism. Renewed scrutiny led to his arrest in 2019 on federal charges of sex trafficking of minors in Florida and New York. Epstein died in a New York jail cell in August 2019. His death was ruled a suicide, but it sparked global outrage and widespread suspicion. The Epstein Files comprise a vast collection of documents linked to multiple criminal investigations into Epstein and his associates. In December 2025, under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the US Justice Department released hundreds of thousands of pages of material, including call logs, court records, photographs, and interview transcripts. Many of the documents were heavily redacted. Pressure to release the files intensified after Epstein's death, with victims' families and lawmakers demanding greater accountability. The issue resurfaced during Donald Trump's second presidential term after his administration initially resisted further disclosures, triggering backlash, including from within Trump's own political base. Congress eventually passed legislation requiring the Justice Department to release the records. US authorities have warned that the disclosures may still contain incomplete or unverified information, despite redactions intended to protect victims and private individuals. As more records emerge, the Epstein files continue to raise difficult questions, not only about Epstein's crimes, but also about the influence, access, and silence that surrounded him for years. For governments and political leaders worldwide, including in India, the disclosures have renewed debate over transparency, accountability, and the networks surrounding powerful individuals.